All right, hello, good evening. It's still the evening. Kelvin Rozier and Brian Fulford here, um, live from Raymond James Stadium in the media press box, and the O&G Strike Zone here, fully committed to bringing you uh, up to the minute, up to the hour coverage of Florida A&M University athletics, and following a tough loss tonight, as our Rattlers go down 38-24 to the South USF Bulls tonight. And still up here in the press box, still working. A few people still up here. We'll try to bring on Keith Hadley, who's still up here working Things Up podcast. GT3 still working on his story for the Tallahassee Democrat. Just finished our post-game presser with Coach Simmons and Jeremy Musa. So we'll kind of rehash a little bit of that and make sure to post that as well. Kelvin, we got to do. It's been a long time since the Rattlers have lost a game. What's your instant reaction from this contest tonight?
We knew that this was a winnable game, but we had to play a clean game, and we weren't able to do that. We get off to a fast start. We score first, which was a great sign, but we weren't able to sustain that long enough in order to pull off the upset. But the effort, I have to give the team, the effort was there. Just the execution fell a little short. I mean, 5 turnovers and some missed opportunities, and then the defense really played well, had 5 sacks, but they gave up the big plays, and a lot of those big plays happened on 3rd and 4th down. So great effort, and we represented ourselves well. The stats, looking at the stats, we held them 8 of 19. I think Coach Simmons mentioned that on 3rd down defensively. I think we yarded them. 393.
Yeah, we outgained them. Definitely outgained them.
And we had time of possession. Surprisingly, I think that's going to be the other thing people talk about, other than the turnovers, is lack of running, particularly in the first and second quarter.
Yeah. FAMU, give a shout out real quick. We see some people still up here. Kenya, we appreciate you. Definitely was a tough one. Tony checking in. What up, boy? Yes, sir. Ashton Harris jumping in. We will rebound. We'll come back home. Quick update on the injury front. You're wondering, I'm sure you're probably most likely curious about the injury to Cardell Thomas, who we saw leave out on a cart. Nothing. We'll put it like this: we asked the question in post game, didn't get an actual response, but
we did see him.
And
he did have a
soft cast
on his foot,
on his right ankle. So I mean, we'll kind of wait to hear more information from the university and Coach Simmons regarding that. Just to sort of recap some of the scoring, great start to the ball game. FAMU got off to a start, receiving the ball first, scored 6-play, 78-yard drive in 2 minutes and 37 seconds. And Terrell Jennings capped it off with a 1-yard rush. And then it kind of went, USF came right back and answered on their opening possession with an 8-play, 93-yard drive in 2:16 on a touchdown pass from Byron Brown to Caffrey Brown. And then probably one of the seminal moments of the game, on the ensuing kickoff, ball kick to Marcus Riley. Not sure, it was one of those situations where I think he was trying to make a play, and unfortunately before he landed, because obviously the ground can't cause that, but on his way down, the ball knocked out, and it ended up being a fumble. And USF got the ball on their own 17-yard line, and it actually took them, it's interesting. It took them 7 plays to score, but they did end up scoring in a minute 54 and jumped out to a 14-7 lead. And, we never got any closer than we got closer. We got as close as 3 late in the second quarter. Terrell Jennings on his second touchdown of the contest in the second quarter, where he cut it to 14-17. But then USF went on an 11-play, 92-yard drive, which, Kelvin, when we talk about the sort of the back-breaking drives of this ball game, that felt like one of them. We had them backed up on a great punt, by the way, by Trey Wilhoit. I mean, if he's not SWAC Special Teams Player of the Week, I'll be looking around to see what else everybody else did. But beautiful punt, pinned him down to the 8-yard line, and then
couple of penalties, and Coach alluded to it, tempo. So the defense did a really good job putting pressure. They dominated the line of scrimmage, but with that tempo, sometimes coverage got confused. So there was some moments where guys ran free because of the pace that they were going. And so I think about 30 yards of that particular drive was penalties. And then they, I think that was the 3rd or 4th down when they actually scored, where the coverage, we actually had good coverage, and for whatever reason, the DB, I must have saw something. He slipped. He hesitated and he slipped. He went down. The guy was wide open. So, and that was, but we came right back and drove down and was in the position to score. And then another fumble right before the half.
Yeah, that fumble at the end of the half was tough, because that drive that we were on, let me see if they.
And it was a beautiful.
It was a good drive, because
it was Moose's best drive of the day by far.
We started that drive. I had the stats pulled up. I think we started that drive with 48 seconds left. Looking at these stats here, we started 48 seconds left from pretty much our own. I don't know if we started. We didn't necessarily start from the 7. We started about the 25, didn't we? If I recall. But the drive spot ended. Trying to look at where the drive part. Yeah, on our own 25-yard line. So with 48 seconds left on our own 25-yard line, we go 5 plays, 68 yards in 43 seconds. Get down to the 7 with the completion to Riley, and another mistake, another fumble, ball security, what Coach was talking about. And that's, imagine what that momentum shift could have been like if we go into the locker room
within
down
3 or 6.
I would even taken a field goal there.
Right.
At some points on the board on a nice drive with 48 seconds. And then third quarter, coming out of the half, we get a field goal from Gillis to again cut the deficit to a touchdown. Then USF comes back and answered with 22 seconds left on a 13-yard rush by the quarterback. I believe that's where he scrambled and kind of gave the little hezzy to Isaiah and got by him. They go back up 31-17. FAMU comes back and answered in the fourth quarter with 10:04 remaining on a 45-yard pass play from Musa to Dean. And we're back to within a touchdown again. Feeling excited.
Hey, give me my flowers.
Look, Kelvin up here in the box was calling for that wheel route that Dean scored on. He was calling for that about the second quarter. He was calling for that about the second quarter. And tell him why you were calling for that play.
Because I noticed that on first down there was always run blitzing because they wanted to take away the run. And so they would always on second and third downs, well, a lot of the times, they would sit those safeties in the 2 deep on a hash. So the way they were playing, they weren't looking for the the second half from the hash out. It was an open area that you could attack, and so we were running those our split ends, on those end routes, which occupied that safety. There was nobody out there. The linebackers weren't there because they were blitzing a lot also, so there was nobody outside to pick up the back on that wheel route. So it was just a area of the field that was noticeably uh able to attack if you schemed it right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then of course the play that sort of sealed the game for USF, they go with the toss back to the wide receiver, and he connects on a 31-yard pass play for a touchdown. No, that was no, which drive was that in? I don't think that was in the fourth quarter. That was in the fourth quarter. The wide receiver toss, but I don't think it actually resulted in a touchdown, but it was still a mighty big play.
You talking about you ain't talking about the one where they right before the half, are you?
No. I thought that was in the second half where that wide receiver, the toss back to the wide receiver, which ended up being a big play. We caught one of our guys slipped down. That was in the fourth quarter. But there was a moment even in that contest where USF had to change the quarterbacks. And our defense, I mean, talk about the defense for a second, because I think the defense did a great job in various, I mean, tough pressure. I mean, look, USF ran 81 plays. A week ago, they ran 95 plays. I mean, this team is running, a rocket ship, and so kudos to them for what they do. They really put the pressure on you defensively, and it caught us. It caught that first drive where USF scored on us. We weren't ready, in my opinion. I it just didn't look like we were ready or in the right position to make the plays that we needed to make. But they really pressed the tempo. I noted on the play clock, they were getting plays off within 8 to 14 seconds. I mean, that is insane that they were getting the plays off that fast.
Well, from a defense standpoint, we had 5 turnovers that gave them extra possessions. And then we also had 5 sacks on the defensive side. We also was dealing with over 100 yards of penalties for the game. So, in my opinion, the defense, given all of that, the pace of that which they play offense and they athletic quarterback speed, 5 extra possessions, I thought they played really well. I mean, they kept us in the game because those first 3 turnovers, they only gave up 3 points. They didn't score off those turnovers. So the only issue that really the defense had today was the big play.
Mm-hmm.
We did give up the big play. We could never get that one step. Well, we got them sometimes. Then the refs was giving a little friendly extra possessions here and there. So, but I thought the defense played really, really well. I really did.
Yeah, both in terms of penalties, both teams were probably had way more penalties than both coaching staffs would like. USF had 14 penalties for 114 yards. FAM had 12 penalties for 115 yards. And I think on both sides, there were penalties at costly moments, drive killers. There were a couple of unsportsmanlike by USF, which hurt them, helped us. And then there were the penalties that we made, which hurt us, helped them. And at the end of the day, when you look at a game that, the yardage, total offense, we ran 72 plays for 393 yards. They ran 81 plays for 360. The one stat that you will go back and circle is 5 turnovers.
Yes.
You cannot beat. Look, it's a challenge for FCS teams to beat FBS teams as it is.
Yes.
And the two teams today that HBCU Nation will be looking at is they will look at Morgan State.
Yep.
If you saw the way Morgan State lost, you will be like, oh my God.
58 seconds left and the ball. All they got to do is take a knee, but they decided to try to run a run RPO at that. They were going outside, and the guy got stripped with 58 seconds left.
scoop and score, touchdown, lose the ball game.
Yeah.
And then we had 5-0. It wasn't, I mean, we didn't even get, I mean, there were, let me see, did they even fumble at all? There were no fumbles lost by USF, no fumbles lost. And I don't know if we ever got any opportunities to get an interception. There wasn't anything that like caught our hands that we dropped. Yes, no, maybe.
Whereas as another person who may join the show later said, that quarterback wasn't the most accurate, so it was tough for anybody to catch the ball.
Yeah, but hey, statistically, the man still threw 3 touchdown passes.
Great athlete. Hey, and he's going to be a really good. He's a redshirt freshman, man. You can see potential.
There's positives. Yeah. There's a lot of positives, yeah. and USF will be better down the road. Appreciate you, Joseph C, for coming in, and a USF guy making note there. FAMU's run D was pretty tough. Yes, it was. Yeah. Tony. Yeah. Refs are gonna miss calls. Ref missed a hold on one big play in the first half that led to some points. Yes, indeed. So, I mean, that's going to run. The big storyline, I think that a lot of
it's actually going to be 3.
3? Okay, I'm going to go with the first one, which is going to be the run plays, the running plays.
Absolutely. Or lack thereof in the first half.
Or lack thereof in the first. I don't know what the first half numbers were, but I did tweet out in the first quarter we had 11 passes to 4 rushes. That was the first quarter pass run ratio, right? And totally in the game. If I go to rushing, we had 29 rushes. We threw the ball 43 times. Now, Coach Simmons in the post game said that a lot of that was, USF stacking the box, which they did. I mean, we heard from a couple of media guys from USF who cover USF make note that they were really impressed with the way FAMU ran the ball the previous week against Jackson State, and they felt like that was how to stop us. That was how to make it difficult for us, which is kind of interesting given, what we've talked about in having all of these passing weapons. And you saw today, I mean, how many different receivers did Jeremy throw to? 10 different receivers, hit 10 different guys, Now,
one thing that USF was doing they was on first down, they run blitz pretty much every series. So they wanted to put us in second and long, third and long. And so they were committed to that. Now, even with that, though, I thought when we did decide to run, a few times we did decide to run, we were still effective. And they were very fast and athletic, but they weren't very big. So I thought there was some opportunities if we put in a 2 tight end set. It didn't matter if they put 8 men in the box. If we put those 2 tight ends, and we did it once or twice early, but yeah, if you put those 2 tight ends in and run the ball, it doesn't matter if they have 8 men in the box or not, especially at their size. So that's one adjustment I would have liked to see us. But the whole game plan was, frankly, to take away the run and make our quarterback and receivers beat us. And we just made a few too many mistakes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if that's a strategy that we'll see many teams use, but I mean, maybe, and that's where, I've kind of heard now for the second consecutive week, you've heard Jeremy in the post game kind of talk about, his self-reflection on his performance. And so I got a feeling opponents, and I don't know if it'll be West Florida or if it'll be who's after that, Alabama State, or if it'll be Alabama State afterwards, who also has a good D. Tough loss for Alabama State.
Miles College.
Yeah, Miles College. Shout out to Dexter. Shout out to Dexter Martin on that one. But in 2 weeks when we play Alabama State, are they going to force Jeremy Musa to beat it? I mean, that's where, I hate to say it, he's the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, but I think we're moving to that point where and we'll know it for sure against West Florida. Are you looking at me kind of, okay, I looked over and you're like, But that's what's going to happen. I mean, teams are going to force Jeremy Musa to beat them.
To play a clean game.
To play a clean game.
That's really
that's
the
really
goal.
what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Right. Was there a third point that you wanted to make up? Because I brought up the running, you brought up the second one, the run blitz. Was there a third one that you were going to mention? Another key, or did you already get to it?
No, it was, but I forgot what it was.
Okay, it'll come to you here shortly. Just to give the final numbers here on Musa, he was 24 of 43, 374 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. He was sacked 4 times in the contest. Rushing the ball. In terms of yardage, Jaquez Yant rushed 8 times for a net 22. His longest run was 9 yards. Terrell Jennings rushed 11 times. His net was 11. He actually had a 5-yard loss in there as well. You had Jamari Shareed with a run of 4 yards. Kelvin Dean, only 2 rushes for 2 net yards. Marcus Riley, 1 rush for a negative 2 yards. And, of course, Musa on 6 rushes attempts. And I don't know if these are all sacks or rushes.
Combination.
Yeah, he had a total loss of 27 yards, so minus 18. So in total, this was ugly. I hate to even say this as I look at it. FAMU, 29 rushes, gained 55 yards, lost 36, net of 19 yards. That's an average of 0.7. Yikes. 2 touchdowns. That's brutal. Receiving, as mentioned, 10 different Rattlers caught a ball. Leading the way was Nicholas Dixon, 6 catches, 98 yards. Jamari Shareed was targeted 11 times. That's a team high. He finished with just 4 catches and 43 yards. Marcus Riley had 5 targets, 5 catches, 76 yards. And then you had a host of other guys that caught some, yards. There was only, Dixon, Darian Oxendine had a catch of 27 yards after the Kelvin Dean 26. Obviously, he had the 45-yard play, which led the way. Punting wise, Trey Wilhoit, 4 punts for an average of 40 yards. His long was 48. That was the one that got pinned at the 8-yard line. Returns, not much. I said we had the 1 negative in the return game, but that was another thing that probably USF was really adamant about. They weren't going to give us opportunities. They didn't give Kelvin Dean. They didn't give Marcus Riley or Jamari Shareed opportunities to return anything back. And so those are some of those stats for FAMU.
So the other takeaway, the third thing I was, and we kind of mentioned it, was the turnovers and just the QB overall play. 300 some 70 whatever it was yards. There's a lot of yardage, but it was a lot of attempts too. I mean, it was over 40 plus attempts and less than 50%. Well, less than 55%, right around 53% completion percentage. So we hadn't hit that system mark, and that was one of the areas of growth we were hoping to see. And frankly, there was a moment in this game I thought there was an opportunity where we might have could have considered sitting Jeremy down for a series, let him watch the game and get one of the backup an opportunity. But that didn't happen. But I'm starting to think that we're probably gonna have to do that sooner than later. I think competition is a good thing. Plus, we need to give guys some experience anyway.
Well, that's an interesting take there. Let me go to this question here because Nehemiah Jefferson asked it. It had to do asking about why FAMU wasn't kicking into the end zone. Didn't feel like it was smart giving them a short field. I actually disagree because there was what quarter was it? Was it the first quarter when they returned that kick and they caught our coverage in a bad spot?
South Florida is a very fast team.
Mm-hmm.
They have some really good athletes. So I think we were concerned about kicking into them and them returning it And I can tell you that was my concern seeing it too, to be honest. So they decided, hey, we'll just give them the ball at the 30. And I was fine with that. Our defense was playing pretty well and so forth. And we're getting a lot of pressure on them. We were controlling the line of scrimmage actually from a defensive standpoint. So I thought it was a good strategy.
Yeah, I was trying to find where that happened, in which quarter that return happened. Was it in the early second quarter?
It was in the first half. Let's just say
It was
that.
in the first half. Yeah.
Because we didn't start off doing that.
No, we didn't start off doing that. And then I think they caught us, and almost that thing almost could have been returned for a touchdown. I think there was a penalty on the return. There was a penalty on the return, but after that, it was like, yeah, let's kind of pooch it high or squib kick it and see if one of these mid level guys gets it. And obviously with the rules, if it's anywhere from the 25 to the end zone, you can just fair catch it and it'll come out to the 25. And a couple times we just kicked it off to the 30. And I think that was the point where I thought our defense was playing well. So I was okay with us doing that because our defense was playing well, and I would rather give them a short field, especially if they were going to blitz us with and complete some plays. But I think that was a decision based on our special teams coverage, and B, the way our defense was playing. So
speaking of special teams, we made some adjustments on our field goal kicking extra point team, and I noticed that they did angle them a little more toward the line, and they closed that gap. And we were perfect on field on extra point. So
right. All right, another question here coming up as Tony dropped this one. Any concerns going into next week's West Florida game? As West Florida has only allowed 2 field goals in 2 games. Yikes. And scored 35 in each contest. And of course, you bring up the fact that Division II Miles beat Alabama State.
We're not Alabama State. This Rattler team is legit. That our line of scrimmage and our depth and our speed. I do expect a competitive game early, to be honest with you, because West Florida is not going to be scared of us. They have Florida athletes too. They have good coaching, so I'm not. It's not. I actually asked Coach the last question about transitioning from this game to make sure we stay focused and be ready for the playing a Division II school. And he said all the right things, as the coach's speech about, and he has a bunch of leaders. I believe in his team's talent, and like I said, we have 42 seniors, redshirt seniors, grad students. So it shouldn't be an issue, and we're in Bragg. So I mean, if the team we say we are, and the way we've looked, quite frankly, the last 2 weeks, then at the end of the day, by the fourth quarter, we should be pulling away from West Florida.
I'll say this. I think Miles beating Alabama State, best thing that could happen for us in terms of waking your team up, keeping them alert. Say, hey, guys, Division II's knocked off teams in week 1. Bowie State did it. Who else? There was another CIAA team that did it.
Last week.
Yeah.
Delaware State got beat.
Right. And then Bowie beat Delaware State. There was somebody else Division II that knocked off
Virginia State.
Virginia State knocked off Norfolk. Then you had Miles knocking off Alabama State. So look, hey, fellas, don't take these dudes from West Florida for granted. And those stats you just brought up, Tony. I mean, if our team is relaxing at all because it's a Division II opponent coming in to Bragg for the home opener, we will get disappointed. We will have to deal with that for real. So I hope we're sharp. I would like to think that the coaching staff will use the last 2 weeks as great examples that, hey guys, there's not much difference between Division II and Division I, especially
not the upper level. You got to remember, this is a ranked team.
Yeah,
They started off, I think, number 7, and they probably going to be higher than that coming into this game. So yeah, this is a ranked Division 2 team, so they're good enough to beat us now.
And if you give a team 5 turnovers, hey, you give the ball 5 teams to a team like West Florida, yeah, upset alert. Watch out. So let's see a couple other questions here. A lot of you guys talking about the penalties and turnovers. Definitely,
yeah.
We understand
that was the game.
Yeah, Kenya doesn't understand why we weren't in the 2-minute offense when we got the ball with 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, agreed. We talked about it up here too. That's when we start running the ball.
Yeah, look,
first quarter, no runs.
I don't know.
When we needed to pass the ball, we run it. Okay, all right.
I will say this. I will say this for those who care. FAMU covered the 20-point spread. Once again, Coach Simmons and FAMU does what we do. We cover, baby. That's what FAMU does. Covering machine. So I'll just put that out there. Let's see. FAMU should beat West Florida by 4 touchdowns minimum. Well, okay. I don't know. I'm not holding my breath.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. What do we do against? If we play up against to our potential, then that's not unreasonable. But it's easier said than done. They got some heroes and Joes too. Yeah. And they're a well coached team, so it's not easy.
Yeah.
To put it this way, it ain't gonna happen because we got FAMU on our chest. That's for sure. We're gonna hurt it.
Nehemiah, we saw the AD Sykes. If you had sent this question in maybe about an hour ago, I could ask this question. But I think you'll have to send Tiffany Dawn Sykes an email or a tweet and ask her. I could have helped you out with that one. I don't know where the Investing in Champions packages are. Any comments? Any thoughts, Kelvin? You know where they are?
Well, my understanding was that they sent them electronically through your Ticketmaster account. You should have got a notification email. So check your spam email if you didn't get it. To have hard printed tickets, I think they was charging $20 or something. So you have to request the hard printed tickets, but it should come through your email, and they already been sent.
Keith, you wanna jump in here real quick before we shut this down? Want to jump in with any thoughts? I'll give you a chance to get turned around. We'll hear from Keith. Love Keith.
Oh man, Keith, boy, he keeps the
keeps the press box
lively for sure.
Let me know when you're I almost choked you. When you're all hooked up, Keith, I'll bring you in.
Hey, Rally Nation, you know how y'all are in the stands when y'all coaching the team. That's Keith.
Let's keep in the box. In the box. We just gonna keep next game. I'm just gonna keep a camera on Keith. All right, Keith. Your thoughts. Give your 3 points. Your 3 points. 3-point plays about tonight's game.
Oh man, 3 points would definitely be 1 turnovers. We said that turnovers is the difference, and it's really part of the reason we lost. Then not utilizing the run game. It was something that we said on both of our shows that if FAMU does not establish the run game, you're not going to win. And obviously, when FAMU did run, we saw some success early on in the drives. And then the other thing that I would also say about this game, my third takeaway was lack of ingenuity. We saw that sometimes, especially on offense, where we ran a lot of the same formations that didn't work at the end of the last game, but also defensively. One of the things Kelvin was pointing out, and I said it myself, was about the zone defense. Like, as much as I've bashed us a lot of times for running the zone defense, this was actually the game where you needed to run a zone defense and you needed to have a spy. And we had a spy earlier in the game, but it was the wrong person. We had a linebacker to spy, and I definitely stated, hey, you should probably put a safety or a corner at the spy so they can keep up with the quarterback, because he's 6'2", he's tall, he's lanky. And as Kevin pointed out, he's not accurate. He has footwork problems. He may develop into somebody, but if you're going to look for a modern comparison, look about 80 miles down the road or across I-4 and look at John Rice Plumlee, and you're going to see a quarterback who had to learn to develop that accuracy. And that's one of the things we saw all night, because when FAMU forced him to throw the ball, we were able to have some success. But we needed to make him one-dimensional, and we didn't.
Yeah, just the same way they made us one-dimensional. And crazy as inaccurate as he was at times, the fact that we could not get an interception at all, not even off a deflection, could we get an interception?
Yeah.
All right. So as we get ready to move into next week, or next week's game, on to West Florida, as we like to say. We were talking about this, and I'll kind of wrap up as we're doing, is the expected crowd at Bragg. And I talk about this because I was looking at the attendance numbers of Alabama State, who in the opening game of the season had a sellout, almost 22,000 there for their game against Southern. This weekend, they only had 9,000 for their game against Miles, an in-state rival, maybe in-state.
Rival.
And so it brings me to wondering, FAMU opening the season at home, it's West Florida. What kind of numbers? We were throwing around some numbers here, first off, the capacity of Bragg is officially what, Kelvin?
I think they say is 21.5 now.
21.5. All right. So if we're let's say 21, just in case, we lost
4,000 seats with the
with the renovations, and maybe about 500 have a obstructive view somewhere. Mm-hmm. So let's just say 2,100. Okay, 2,100 is the mark. I'll start with you, Keith. What's your line? What's your number that you are looking for the attendance at Bragg to open the season?
I'm going to go about 14,000. I don't anticipate West Florida bringing a lot of fans. Like, part of the thing you said that was, it was Southern. Like, Southern fans traditionally travel pretty well. You see where this week they have a sellout at home, but you're also going to look and see that West Florida fans probably aren't going to travel. It's their first time playing in FAMU. That's a 3-hour ride, and let's be honest, nobody wants to make the trip from Pensacola to Tallahassee. It sucks. Nothing but pine trees, and you don't even get to see the ocean. So
it's a long ride.
It's a long ride. Like, it's just like God forgot you while you're driving. And so I'm going to say about 14,000 at the max.
Kelvin, what's your line on the attendance?
I struggle, and we talked about some of the reasons why I'm struggling with this. It's the first game. We naming the field after Ken Riley. So traditionally, the first games are close to 19,000-20,000, right? Mm-hmm. But we used to playing HBCU number one. Usually, it's a regional rivalry, and so we don't ever really have any history with this team. Then I know there's been some chatter about the ticket structure and pricing changes and so forth. I think there's a little uncertainty about what the game operations are going to look like on game day. So, we'll see what the weather's like. I'm gonna split the difference, right? So typically we look at 19,000-20,000 first game. You saying what, 14? I'll say, let's say 16.9, right, close to 17 now.
I'm gonna go 15. I'm gonna say the line is 15. My numbers have been all year. Remember, I'm the guy who I thought there was gonna be 40 something at South Florida last week. There was actually 36,000 here in attendance for this contest. Good crowd for USF. What's that new stadium that they're trying to build going to be? 40? Yeah, so I mean, hey, they get 36, and next week they got Alabama coming in town. This place will be sold out because and Alabama just lost, so they'll be itching to get down here into some nice weather and play. So it'll be a packed house in Raymond James next week. But
Alabama lost at home too.
They lost at home, exactly. It's rare. I think the last time I recall. Well, no, they lost. They lost two
last season.
Huh?
Did it lose last season?
Was that LSU?
No. Was the LSU game there?
I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to. But yeah, it feels like it's been a while since USF or not USF, but Alabama lost. But anyway, I'm setting the line at Bragg at 15. So hopefully more show up. I'd love it if 19 show up.
Yeah. So, Rattler Nation, let's go ahead and make sure we're in the place and we support the team. We got a great team. We got a really, really, really strong team here, and I think we can run the table and we'll run the table. And let's leave no doubt.
And the Marching 100 will be there. They did tweet that out to say they will be there next week.
No comment.
I just had to mention it because they tweeted it. I thought it should be well known and established. The 100 will be there next week. So we missed them here in Tampa. They'll be there next week. In the store.
You didn't have to ask the AD about that one this time.
All right, see there it is. Time to go. We got to get out of here. Out of the press box. Make our way back to where we're going. Thank you to everybody for checking in. Yeah, I know it was kind of late, but
shout out.
Oh yeah. We had a few shout outs.
What was my man?
Oh man. 1974. 74. Yes. Yeah. The Dirty Dozen. I think is what they did. Yeah. Flag Corps. And I'm oh man, forget. I know I should have wrote. I apologize.
Well, we got the pictures.
We got the pictures. So we'll post the pictures. Yeah, we'll post the pictures a little bit later. But yeah, thanks to. Sorry we didn't get a chance to do the pregame with the FAMU Tampa McKenzie. Hopefully we can catch up with them another time. Good friend Floyd Hill did hook us up though by the time we got to the site. So shout out to Floyd for taking care of us. And that's gonna do it for this. Thank you guys. Hope we gave you a little something and a lot of positive. It's a new day. It's Sunday, and we're on to West Florida. We're at Bragg on Saturday, 6 p.m. is the kickoff. And if you get a chance tomorrow, or I should say Sunday afternoon, make sure to tune in to that women's volleyball match, which I believe will be streamed on Rattlers Plus. So it'll be an opportunity to watch our volleyball team. Let's see if we can finish off this tournament weekend with a win. We're kind of 1-1 right now. So we'll see if we can finish off with a win. Safe, tough. Yeah, tough, definitely tough. Safe travels to anybody who's heading back to Tallahassee, or when you head back to Tallahassee, or wherever you're going throughout the state of Florida. Be safe. Again, final score: FAMU 24, USF 38, and Rattlers are now 1-1 on the year, and we get ready for West Florida on Saturday. Thanks again to everybody here at Raymond James Stadium. Thanks to Josh Padilla and everybody with communications for the post-game opportunity. Shout out to Keith. Appreciate Keith for helping get a brother over here, and to this guy, Kelvin. And we look forward to being on the show Wednesday night. And we'll get ready for West Florida. Maybe we'll have a few guests on as well. And we'll also be looking forward to talking to you. So things up, Rattler Nation. Be strong, be safe. Peace out. God bless everybody. Good night.